The story will be shown with a man who is being worked on by the police. The policeman suggests that the man stop, but instead he continues to drive his motorbike at full speed. Because of that, a very epic chase occurs. Long story short, night fell before he realized that at the end of the road he was surrounded by police who were ready to arrest him in all directions. This man was named James. Feeling surrounded, James took a luminous object in his pocket, and suddenly a blue light from the sky flew towards James, causing the police's attention to be diverted, and James ran away with the light. This is... Time goes by 19 years later. We are shown a woman looking for a ride because her car has broken down. The woman was visited by a man named Jimmy, and this woman was Everly. They are a pair of lovers who really get along, as proven because it was his girlfriend who he called when his car broke down. Never forget to give a gift in the form of a test pack showing that she is pregnant. He is Johnny, Jimmy's brother. They were talking about a car tournament where Jimmy begged Johnny to lend him a car to take part in the tournament. Everly told his best friend and wife, Joni Mel, and grandmother Nana about her pregnancy, that the child was Jimmy's. On the other hand, there are two siblings, Gus and Bo, who are looking for something with a detector. They find the object they are looking for. The object they are looking for is technology left by aliens. Because they found the item they were looking for, Gus and Bo immediately sped off on their motorbike, going at high speed. Without realizing it, they passed Shurfy, who was cleaning up the rubbish. Gus and Bo are also employed by the sheriff. Gus realized that they were being followed by the sheriff, so he hid the technology in a closed place and rushed to Bo, who was being interrogated by the sheriff. It turns out that the place where the alien device was hidden is Jimmy's car, which he will use to take part in the car destruction tournament. Full of courage and ambition to beat all the participants, Jimmy was very enthusiastic and full of adrenaline, but all that was not enough. Jimmy had to be ejected because his car was no longer strong enough to withstand the enemy's attacks. Gus and Bo seem to have just arrived and intend to take the alien technology that Gus left in the back of Jimmy's car. When the match was over, Jimmy realized that there was a suitcase in the back of his car, and he took it, chatted for a moment like a couple, asking about what it was, and they opened it. When Jimmy took it, he saw that the object was emitting a bright blue light accompanied by light coming from the sky, which turned out to be a portal to an alien planet. Without thinking much, Jimmy and Everly entered the portal and found lots of glowing objects. Everly pulled out something that looked like a carrot, he said, but looked more like a turnip. That's when Everly felt something pass through the portal. They decided to leave the portal carrying the alien carrot. On the way in the car, they still couldn't believe what had happened. Everly suggested reporting the incident to the government, but Jimmy denied it and decided to hide it.
Yes.
Everly is a singer who gives performances at Johnny's Cafe, owned by his brother Jimmy. And we will be introduced to a deputy sheriff named Kirk. He is friends with Jimmy, but is a little disharmonious because of Jimmy's sometimes annoying attitude. Jimmy tells Mel about the alien object and tells him about the incident they just experienced. Because of Jimmy's somewhat childish attitude, they don't believe Jimmy. When Jimmy and Johnny were enjoying their Everly performance when Gus and Bo arrived, causing trouble and collecting a suitcase containing alien technology, a commotion broke out. Luckily, a sheriff's deputy intervened and, it was noisy again. They stopped fighting for a moment and instead continued fighting again. Jimmy, who had been hit with a bottle on his head, suddenly felt dizzy and unconscious. It was in his unconsciousness that he met his father, James, who apparently disappeared in the first scene at the same time as the alien portal. Jimmy wakes up to the sheriff asking why he is dealing with Gus and Bo. She always looks angry because when he appears, she is disturbed by their fights and is always worried about his baby, money, food, and future life. Everly was also worried about this strange object. Jimmy decides to take him to the sheriff. Suddenly, Gus and Bo came to surprise them. However, there is a strange sound. Gus also checked it. Because he was afraid, Jimmy handed over the suitcase to Bo, who immediately ran away on his motorbike. Meanwhile, Everly and Jimmy saw a man carrying a dog. They tried to tell him, but he was attacked by aliens. They rushed into the car and found new passengers. Jimmy and Everly went to Nana's house to tell them everything they had experienced. At first, Nana looked normal until Nana rushed to get the book she was keeping and told her that aliens existed and that Nana had seen them in person. While they were engaged in chatting, the sound of the doorbell was heard. Jimmy turned off the lights and hid. You can see in the window that it is the person who was attacked by the aliens. Everly saw a green light similar to the aliens. Jimmy also took a book and went forward. Who knows what the book was for? Maybe he wanted to tell a sleep story to an alien. Nana also gave him a baseball bat while Nana brought a shotgun. Jimmy looked in the kitchen, but instead he saw someone outside, and it turned out that the alien was on top of Jimmy, and he immediately fought. The stranger apparently was also an alien. His name was Ben. Ben said that he was a good alien who saw someone being torn apart by an evil alien. Because of that, he took over the human body. Meanwhile, Bo is shown explaining that his brother died in an alien attack. And unfortunately, the suitcase he was carrying had nothing in it. There were none of the alien tools he was looking for. Ben explained that this alien was called Cogrekura, or called the Cog Animal. Ben said that every time a Cog Animal dies, it will release spores, which will be absorbed by other Cog Animals and make them stronger. And the best way to overcome this is to return all the Cog Animals back into the portal. They decided to look for the monsters and return them all to the portal. On the way, they stopped for a moment to fill their stomachs and eat. However, one of the restaurant employees named Carl actually met the alien Cog, and he immediately became a victim. Hearing the scream, they rushed and looked for the source. What they found was Carl's hat. In the morning, the sheriff was shown the body had been torn to shreds. Sheriff Roger is his name. Joni was then asked by the sheriff that the body behind his rosto might have been killed. Joni also told him that the victim was Gus, who had a fight with Jimmy yesterday at the restaurant. Sheriff Roger asked where he was now, but Johnny, who is Jimmy's brother, refused to say it, but his son wanted to tell him in exchange for $5. He said that every Saturday Jimmy was at Nana's house. Meanwhile, Ben, the alien, teaches Jimmy how to use tools and open the portal with full awareness. He closes his eyes to start focusing. Jimmy began to be able to feel the vibrations and headed who knows where he was going. The three of them actually met Bo, who was carrying a shotgun, and then they ran. Whoa. While escaping, Ben felt an alien approaching them. Jimmy started a plan by asking Everly to be bait, and Jimmy would try to open the portal and put the alien into the portal. Luckily, their plan worked. However, Everly was angry because why did he have to be the bait? Sin also shows the meeting between the sheriff and Jimmy, who are thought to have killed Bo, but Nana mediates the problem by inviting them in and showing the alien who killed Bo. Because of this, the sheriff finally believes that Jimmy was not the perpetrator of the murder, but evil aliens who killed Bo. Jimmy started to tell the sheriff all about the aliens, but who would have thought that Sheriff Roger had experienced something similar before? The sheriff said that Jimmy's father had also been lost by aliens. At night, they heard strange sounds, which they believed were aliens. The sheriff finds the alien, but Jimmy asks not to shoot it because it will get stronger. The sheriff is in a dilemma because he doesn't want to risk his life for something silly like that. They ran outside and the sheriff's deputy shot him. What causes the alien to die and release spores is because other living aliens absorb them and make the alien stronger. They ran and hid in the cornfield. Their boss arrives, Bo, who is looking for the alien device, with the guarantee of bringing Nana, who was made a hostage. From this conversation, it is revealed that women are the same as Ben, and the aliens are weapons to destroy humans. Sharif surrendered himself, but he was injured by the alien. Jimmy, who felt himself cornered, opened the portal again. I don't know what Everly did. He ran into the portal, followed by aliens who wanted to pounce on him. Unfortunately, Sheriff Roger couldn't be saved anymore. That's what made Jimmy sad. They all planned to open the portal again and bring Everly back to Earth. Everyone was ready for this day, the betting day to bring Everly back and end all this. Jimmy also opened the alien portal. The monsters in the portal immediately rushed out of the portal. What they didn't know was that Jimmy and his friends were ready to destroy the aliens. Nana was really enthusiastic, and her friends fought with all their bodies against the aliens, shot, crashed, and Jimmy entered the portal. In the portal, Jimmy meets Everly, who turns out to be still alive, but the problem now is how they get back with the portal closed. The evil aliens suddenly appeared with a large army of monsters they couldn't get out of. The way to get out is to seize the tool and return to Earth. He also opened a portal with the aim of letting the monsters come out to Earth and destroy humanity. Everly heads to the portal while Jimmy defeats the evil alien. He met his father in the portal, who gave him the tools to return to Earth. And surprisingly, James also returned to Earth. They were safe while the evil alien was trapped in his world. End. The story closes with Jimmy and Everly's wedding.